Good morning, friends. Today's topic is the theme of the Gumdrop affair, and we will be looking at the title of the Gumdrop affair and also the protagonist, the character of the protagonist. This is sequel to the previous lecture of the Gumdrop affair. Friends, as you know, the theme of the story is that appearances are always deceptive. So far, you have understood the introduction and the summary of the lesson. You have already understood that appearances are always deceptive. A person cannot be judged by his physical appearance. He is not to be judged because he is bald, or a person is fat is not judged that he does not know anything about judo. Right, we will be trying to ascertain all these things in this theme. you know uh, we should not be judgmental in observing people externally. That is, if you see the physical appearance of somebody, you cannot judge the person through his physique. Whether a person is fat or a person is bald, you can't judge it because of his physical appearances. Our observations can be misleading. If you are judging a person only through his physical structure or through his physique, observations can be misleading. This wise statement can be read through the character of Bombay, who is maltreated by his department for being a lazy and insignificant person, but he proves his worth after passing the real test successfully. During the test, carrying the gumdrops to the contact man. This wise statement can be read through the character of Bombay. When you are looking on the character of Bombay, who is considered by the department a very lazy and insignificant person, and he is sent to far off places, but he proves his worth after passing the real test successfully. During the test, carrying the gumdrops to the contact man. Now we passed that particular test, which you are quite aware of. I have already discussed in the previous lecture, when he carried the gumdrops, which where you are finding some coded message is put on them that they are considered to be explosives, and he has to take them to a contact man, and the contact man's name was Varian Thompson, right? But what happened? Barnbay successfully passes the test. That is the theme of the story. Okay, now see another thing. That is the title of the story. Whether the title of the story, The Gumdrop Affair, is apt, is the title suitable for the lesson? We will be looking at it. Now see this. The gumdrop is the significant thing that acts as the spinal cord of this story. Now this particular title is apt. It is quite significant title. Why? Because it acts as the spinal cord of the story. It acts just like, you can say the entire story runs around it. It has a pivotal role. The jelly packet is externally believed to be a pack of explosives. But during the development of the story, we end up with the strange information about the explosives, right? Otherwise, there was simply a coded message put on that particular box, and these jelly packets are considered to be the packets of explosives. But during the development of the story, we end up with a strange information. We understand a very strange information about the explosives. Basically, these are not explosives, these gumdrops. They are simply, having very delicious taste of chocolates. Okay, they are not what they appear. They are not what they appear. They're actually sweets of delicious taste with lemon flavor. Remember, with lemon flavor. These gumdrops closely knit the story and keep the characters intimately attached to each other. All the characters are attached very closely, very friendly with one another because of these gumdrops. Therefore, what happens? The gumdrop affair is an apt and perfectly justified title. Okay, friends, one more issue, and the most important issue, that is the character sketch of Edison Barnby. Friends, as you know, Edison Barnby is the protagonist of the story and at the same time is a secret agent. As far as Edison Barnby's physical appearance is concerned, when you see his physical appearance, he has keen eyes and a bald head, head without hairs. His voice is admirable and he is fat but fit as he is proficient in judo, right? His voice is, appealing voice, admirable voice. And if you see his structure, he is fat, but he is fat to that extent he is fit because he is able to use judo when needed. He is skilled and committed in his work. He is completely a professional man. Instead of using violence, Bombay uses judo tricks to overpower his opponents. That is the most specific thing about Bombay. That if he has to use any violent mean during the course of any action, what he did, he is using the judo tricks. That's the total thing he is doing. He is not using any gun, right? And through judo tricks, he is professional to that extent that he overpower his opponents. He overpower anybody who comes across with the person or who is involved in any kind of encounter with Bombay. Addison Bombay is a serious, sober, smart, keen, alert, patient, with no inclination towards violence and killing. Now, this line is significant to understand. This is, in fact, his entire character. He is a serious with regard to his, profession. He is at the same time very sober, very intimately with the people. Sociable person. He is very smart. He is a keen observer of things. He is alert at the same time. He is patient. He has a lot of patience with no inclination towards violence and killing. He is basically, in the text we understand he lacks killing instincts. He is a perfectionist and an admirable person who loves mankind. Who loves mankind. Any person who loves mankind can't be a violent worker or a violent, you can say a violent person. He does not compromise on the principles of taking arms during his assignments, but ensures that his gun is not loaded to kill someone mistakenly. He takes gun with him, but it is simply for the sake of to make some sort of impression. Otherwise, he always tries to understand that his gun must be unloaded. There must be no magazine in it, no bullet in it, so that whenever he use it, it must not kill anybody mistakenly. Okay. Now this is Edison Barnby. Now see other things. He could not change with the changing environment in his department. He remains stagnant, doesn't change anywhere, doesn't change because the environment changes. He stands rock solid on his principles of disliking towards the killing instincts. Because he's a sociable person, he's an amiable character in the story. That is why he dislikes killing instincts. In spite of the pressure from the department, Bourne believed in the statement that one should eradicate the sin, but not the sinner. Now, friends, you must note it. This is very interesting line. Bourne believed in the statement that one should eradicate the sin. One must eradicate the sin. One must remove the sin from its roots, but not the sinner. But not the sinner. You must not hate the sinner. You must hate the sin. That is the idea, with Barnby. At the same time, he is more sinned against the sinning, as he is always posted at far off places, because he is neglected by the department, and department is doing some sort of partiality, and he is being posted to far off places. His attitude towards life and crime has paid him in the story, as he wins the confidence of the department after successfully qualifying the test that he was put in by his organization. Now, department did one thing, they put him on a test in order to check whether he is a professional secret agent or not, whether he is able to use number of means that are necessary for his for his profession. But he successfully qualified the test. Thus, we conclude that Edison Barnby is a dedicated, sincere, and honest worker, as he gives extra time to his assignments and never leaves them unresolved. That is another thing, you know, necessary to understand Edison Barnby. Okay, besides a dedicated, sincere, and honest worker, he is giving extra time on his assignments which the department has given him. He is trying to understand the people, understand their culture, understand their tradition. He is providing a lot of time in order to understand the entire process, and never leaves them unresolved. Okay, friends, I'm leaving you here. We'll meet you in the another lecture. Till then, goodbye.